Welcome back. I'm Connie from Let's Go Crafting. Today's project is a Ladybug Beanbag. For today, you will need the pattern, which will be found in the description of this video, paper scissors, fabric scissors, beans. I'm using just dried pinto beans. You can use beans, you can use rice. If you don't want it to be in beanbag, you can use stuffing. If you don't have stuffing, you can use dryer lint. You can fill it with whatever you would like. You will need fabric, and I used felt for the outside of it, and I'm going to use red. You need some fabric for the decoration in the middle. This is what I'm going to use, just a little scrap that was in my bin. And then for his head, you'll need some black felt. You will need some googly eyes. You can also use pieces of felt if you would like. And then today's project, we won't be working with the sewing machine. You'll just need thread and a needle. Let's get started. Here we are at the crafting table, and this is our pattern. We're going to use our paper scissors to cut out our pattern. The biggest circle is for this. It's for the base of our ladybug. The smaller circle is for the decoration, and then this little half moon type thing is for the head. So let's get cutting. I'm right-handed, so I hold my scissors in my right hand, and this hand doesn't do so much. When we cut, we want to always have our arm and our hand in a comfortable position. So as we cut, instead of moving our hand, what we do is we make our other hand, the one who's not working at all, turn the paper. And your cutting hand stays still and your other hand is going to turn. So right now I'm cutting with my right hand, and my left hand is really doing all the work, getting everything ready for the right hand to cut. If I was left-handed, my scissors would be in my left hand and my right hand would be doing all the turning of the paper. All right, so let's cut out our pattern. And I like to get all the pieces cut out at once before I start to lay them out on the fabric. It just makes more sense to me, and then I don't wind up forgetting anything. And then at the end, trying to figure out, gee, I wonder what's missing here. If I cut everything out and I lay them out all beside them each other, I know exactly what I'm doing. All right, the next step, you're gonna, whatever color you've chosen for your base fabric, you're gonna cut two. So you can fold your fabric over, lay your pattern on, and then you're gonna use your fabric scissors to cut these out. So you need two of the bigger circle, one of the middle of the little circle, and one of the head piece. I will be back as soon as I've cut these out. Here we are. We've cut out all our pieces. So I have my two base pieces, I have my decorative piece, and I have my head. The first thing we're going to do is attach our decorative piece to one of our base pieces. And to do that, we're going to sew by hand. The first thing we're going to do is measure out our thread. So the perfect way to measure thread to make sure you have the right length for you is you're going to grab the thread between your thumb and your index finger and you're gonna pull the length out, straighten your arm, and then pull this one to your shoulder. And that's the perfect length. We're gonna cut there. For today, I'm not gonna cut there. I have some thread that's left over from another project that I'm gonna use. So what you would do is you would cut the thread the length that's right. And then it doesn't really matter what your needle size your needle is. You just need one that's sharp and that has a hole in it. It's called an eye. So the eye of the needle is large enough to put your thread through. So I'm going to thread my needle. My thread goes through the eye just like that. And then I pull the thread and the ends are even. So my ends are even, just like that. Now I need to make my knot. So I lay the thread over my index finger and hold with my thumb. I wrap around my index finger and it comes around over my ends and it makes like an X, if you can see that little X. And then you're going to roll it off your finger and then pull down. And there you have your knot, just like that. Now let's sew. So I just put my decorative piece approximately in the middle. We're going to sew with a running stitch. So it's going to come up near the edge of our decorative piece of fabric. You pull your thread and you really want to come from the back because you want your knot on the back of your project. You don't want a big knot on the front of your project, and that's why we come up from the back, so the knot's on the inside. And then we come a little to the left and we go down, and you want to make your stitches maybe between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. They don't need to be much smaller than that, but they also shouldn't be much bigger than that. You can eyeball it, don't measure please. And what we're going to do is we are going to do this stitch all the way around this circle. Okay, so you're going to keep doing the running stitch all the way around. And when you get back here, I'll meet you and we'll talk about a knot. So now we're back. We've done the running stitch all the way around our circle, and our thread is on the top. That's on the front of our ladybug. I'm going to take a little stitch just to get my thread and my needle to the back because I need to make a knot, and I really don't want my knots on the front of my work. So for this one, I'm going to go just underneath one of the close stitches. I'm going to pull it. Then I'm going to come around and do that one more time. And now I have a nice little loop here. I'm going to go in once from the front and then a second time in the front, and then you pull tight. And that makes your knot go right down to your fabric. You don't want to cut your thread right now. You don't want to cut it right at the knot because eventually that will come undone. The way to keep that from happening is you stick your needle right near your knot and then you just come out of the fabric somewhere else. You just want to make sure it doesn't come through to the front. So then you pull, and there you go. And now we cut it. So I'm going to get my fabric scissors and I'm going to cut. The next part we're going to do is we're going to put the head on. And we can put the head anywhere we want. It can be here or here or here, wherever you think it looks good. Or here. I might do it with the first place I put it, right there. So it really is, you're just going to put it wherever you think it looks the best. And I think mine looks the best right there, so that's what I'm going to do. The way we're going to attach this is we're going to do the running stitch just like we did here. So you're gonna, if you have enough thread left, you can just use the same thread to sew this on. And if you don't, you can cut yourself some more. I'll be right back after I've sewn my head on. Alrighty, now I have my head. That's pretty exciting. Now what we do is we're gonna put the two parts together of our ladybug. We do not have to turn this right side out. We're just gonna sew around the outside like this shows. So the same running stitch that you've been doing. It's a perfect stitch. It's one of my very favorite stitches. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna go all the way around. We are gonna leave an opening, not to turn like usual, but so that we can get our beans or our stuffing or whatever it is that we've decided we're gonna put in there. We need to leave an opening. So I'm gonna start sewing near the edge, and then I'm gonna stop. So I'm gonna sew this way, and I'm gonna stop at about here. I'll see you when we get here. So as I was sewing, I started here, and I got all the way around to here, and I'm almost out of thread. When you have about this much left, it's the perfect time to do a knot, and then I'm going to get a little bit more thread so that I can continue my circle. So I'm just going to bring my needle to the back of my work, and I'm going to make a knot like we usually do. Once I've done that, and once I've cut off my threads, I'm going to get a new thread and keep sewing. I'll meet you back where we're ready to stuff it. Okay, so now we've sewn our ladybug, and we have about the perfect space to get our stuffing or our beans or whatever into it. I want you to notice I didn't knot it or tie it off, because as soon as I've stuffed it, I'm going to just continue sewing and then put my knot at the back over here. So I'm going to use my beans, and let's see if I can get it open a little. And I'm just going to drop them in here. It doesn't take all that many beans. And they're kind of fun when they're in here to move them around. It kind of feels fun. I actually really like bean bags, so I wish I could juggle. That would be fun. So if any of you makes several of these and then juggles them, I would love to see that video. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, now all we have to do is finish sewing. And I have to put my glasses back on before I do that. And here's my needle. And I'm just going to finish stitching the hole. Now, one of the reasons why we don't want our stitches or our gaps to be too big is if they were big, you can imagine how easy it would be for these beans to fall out of our bean bag. And we wouldn't want that, because then we would have to redo it and clean up our beans. Let's see, I think I'm going to take one more stitch to make sure no beans can escape. Maybe not. I think that looks good. Okay, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to make my knot. Let's see if I can get it in there. Here's my little loop. I'm going to go from the front through the loop once, and then twice, and then just pull tight. There it is. I'm just going to stick my needle in and bring it out somewhere else and cut. Okay, now the last part is going to be to add our eyes. I like to use Elmer's glue. You can use the gel glue, you can use the white glue, pretty much any glue will work. Hot glue will work. But one of the glues that doesn't work though is crazy glue. crazy glue doesn't work all that well on fabric. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue on the back of the eye, like that, and I'm just going to place it down. And don't worry if you have a little bit that oozed out on the side. The glue dries clear. And there you go. Let it sit for about 20-30 minutes and it's done. Your ladybug is complete. See you next time.